as an eternal icon of Hollywood, Elizabeth Taylor, the woman with the enchanting purple eyes, the roles of a lifetime and a lavish life that seemed only in fairy tales. But behind the halo and the love songs of diamonds and scandals, there are 4 children who have grown up in the great shadow of a legend. Being the children of Elizabeth Taylor, is it a gift or an invisible sentence? How do they live under the never-ending spotlight, the constant pursuit of the media and their mother's name echoing around the world? This is not just a story about Hollywood children, but a journey to find themselves, overcoming both fame and destiny. Who are they, and what really happened to Elizabeth Taylor's children? If you think you know everything about Elizabeth Taylor, prepare to be surprised, and don't forget to like and subscribe to discover the untold secrets of this legendary family. Because sometimes, the most touching truth lies behind the velvet curtain. Before she became a movie legend with violet eyes that captivated the world, Elizabeth Taylor was a little girl born in the heart of glamorous London on February 27, 1932, the daughter of an art dealer and an American stage actress. Her family was immersed in the elite, associating with artists and politicians, and was guided by an unofficial godfather, Colonel Victor Cazalet, who would have a profound influence on the early years of Elizabeth's life. But then the shadow of war came. An urgent emigration to America opened the journey that took her from the corridors of European art to the bright lights of Hollywood. And here, Elizabeth Taylor not only carved the image of a multi-millionaire star but also lived a life with many chapters like a movie. 8 marriages to 7 men, each a mystery, a separate chapter full of drama. But amid the whirlwind of love, there were 4 Taylors, children growing up in the shadow of a global icon. Born on January 6, 1953 in Santa Monica, California, Michael Wilding Jr. not only carries the blood of 2 stars, the legendary Elizabeth Taylor and the British actor Michael Wilding Sr., but also inherits the mesmerizing purple eyes that once captivated Hollywood. His parents' marriage, from 1952 to 1957, was a period when Elizabeth Taylor sought a little peace amid the storms of her life. And the appearance of Michael Jr. was part of that time, quiet, fragile but profound. As if by fate, Michael Jr. entered the entertainment industry, leaving his mark in the 1980s with roles in Dallas, Guiding Light and Deadly Illusion. But the stage did not hold him for long. Perhaps it was the artistic legacy of his parents that led him to his true passion, sculpting. In 1991, he left the limelight for Santa Fe, an art haven where stone and metal became the language of the soul. Michael describes sculpture as a conversation with stone, quiet, delicate, and full of emotion. His career has been quiet but venerable. The Wilding Cran Gallery in Los Angeles, co-founded by his daughter, Naomi Wilding, is a testament to the family's unbroken artistic flow. His 3 children, Layla, Naomi, and Tarquin, all grew up in the bright but warm shadow of their famous grandmother. Perhaps the most moving moment was at Elizabeth Taylor's 8th wedding, when Michael Jr. walked his mother's hand, a symbol of undying love, respect, and commitment. When she passed away in 2011, he choked up, "My mother was an extraordinary woman, living every moment to the fullest." Elizabeth Taylor's love and ideals, especially through the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, never died. All 3 grandchildren followed in her footsteps, turning kindness into action. And Michael Jr., the quiet, reserved son, silently kept the fire burning, like a loyal shadow beside his mother's eternal halo. Born on February 27, 1955 in Los Angeles, Christopher Wilding carries with him a glorious but also challenging legacy, the youngest son of Elizabeth Taylor and British actor Michael Wilding Sr. When he was just 2 years old, his parents divorced, leaving behind a childhood of peaceful fragments that his mother, with all her love, tried to patch up amid the media circus, from which she desperately wanted to protect her children. Christopher grew up in the giant shadow of the film legend, where his mother's every move appeared on the cover of magazines. At boarding school, the boy had to read about his mother's life like many other fans, and endured cruel gossip about her affairs. But Christopher did not choose to rebel with the spotlight. He quietly turned his back, becoming a quiet artist behind the scenes, sound editor, assistant director, photographer. The works he contributed to, such as Tombstone, Overboard, The Shadow, are artistic whispers, quiet but persistent. In his private life, Christopher married twice, had 3 children, Caleb, Andrew, and Lowell. He lived a discreet life, as if he wanted to keep a part of his mother's memory for himself. But then, in the documentary series Elizabeth Taylor, Rebel superstar, Christopher suddenly spoke up. He spoke about his mother with choked love. "My mother was so beautiful that people forgot her talent. But what made her most proud was definitely her charity work." As a trustee of the Elizabeth Taylor Southern Trust, Christopher Wilding today is the keeper of what remains of a great legacy, not only as an actress, but as a mother, a compassionate warrior. A child who was once silent, and now speaks out for love that never dies. Born on August 6, 1957 in New York City, Liza Todd entered the world in the glare of Hollywood, the only crystallization of Elizabeth Taylor and legendary film producer Mike Todd. Her birth was so eagerly awaited by the media that even her birth weight appeared in the newspaper. The cover of Life magazine once featured a picture of baby Liza in her mother's arms, a fairy tale beginning, but also the beginning of a lifelong tragedy. When Liza was only 7 months old, her father died in a plane crash on March 22, 1958. For Elizabeth Taylor, it was an indelible loss, and for Liza, it was a wordless wound from before she even understood what family was. After that shock, Elizabeth married Eddie Fisher, her first stepfather, then Richard Burton, whom Liza affectionately called Dad, keeping the title Father for Mike Todd. She and Burton had a very close relationship. Elizabeth once confided that Burton was the best stepfather a child could have. Not following in her mother's footsteps in the limelight, Liza chose a quiet artistic path, sculpture. She studied at prestigious art schools in Switzerland, London, and Los Angeles. Under the name Liza Todd, she became an internationally recognized sculptor, famous for her works of animals, especially horses. Each of her sculptures is rich in anatomy and emotion. Typical works such as the Secretariat horse sculpture, the Nazwa Memorial statue, or the calf in Gstaad, Switzerland, where many family memories are kept, reflect a deep and gentle artistic soul. Despite her private lifestyle, Liza spent her childhood on film sets with her mother, feeling the breath of art and the fatigue of fame. In 1984, she married Hap Tai and had 2 sons, Quinn and Reese Tai. After her divorce in 2003, Liza retreated to live peacefully in upstate New York, among nature, animals, and sculptures, a separate world, away from the flashy lights. She did not participate in the management of the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation or House of Taylor, but passed that torch to the next generation. Her son, Quinn Tai, is now a member of the board of directors of House of Taylor and plays an active role in ETF, following in his grandmother's footsteps. He often refers to Elizabeth Taylor not as a global icon, but simply as Grandma, who inspires with her heart. Reese Tai, the remaining child, is a musician who has also made artistic contributions to the organization. Perhaps, Liza's silence is a way to preserve the memory of Elizabeth Taylor, not through public praise, but through a generation of grandchildren who are continuing her light, naturally, quietly but proudly. Born around August 1, 1961 in Munich, Germany, Maria Burton was born under mysterious circumstances. The identities of her biological parents have never been revealed. At the age of 3, she was adopted by Elizabeth Taylor, perhaps while the actress was still in a relationship with Eddie Fisher. When Taylor married Richard Burton, he officially adopted Maria, giving her a home under the shadow of the halo, but also full of challenges. From the beginning of her life, Maria was not lucky with her health. She suffered from a congenital hip dislocation, forcing her to undergo nearly 20 surgeries. But it was in that pain that Elizabeth Taylor's maternal love shone brightly. "I wanted her even more, because she was sick. Maybe I could do something to help," she once said, like a loving oath. Taylor and Burton spared no effort in taking care of Maria, taking her around the world for treatment, and creating a childhood that, although not peaceful, was always filled with love. Growing up, Maria stayed away from the limelight but remained within her mother's artistic and humanitarian orbit. She expressed her talent through fashion design and, with her first husband, Steve Carson, founded the Carson Organization, a small but sophisticated talent management company. Maria was also known for her quiet charity work, as a way to extend Taylor's philanthropic spirit. In 1981, she married Steve Carson, with whom she had a daughter, Elizabeth Eliza Carson, born 1982, who is now an active ambassador for the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. After their divorce in 2000, Maria remarried Tom McCann in 2002, with whom she had another son, Richard McCaughan, born circa 2001. They also separated. Despite the ups and downs of her marriage, Maria has steadfastly kept her children out of the public spotlight, a protection she once dreamed of for herself as a child. Maria lives a private life, but occasionally appears on special occasions, such as Elizabeth Taylor's 75th birthday party or when she and her family received an honorary star for Richard Burton. Her life is a quiet but firm affirmation: you can be born into the spotlight of a legend, but still draw your own path. In her quiet smiles and quiet actions, Maria Burton Carson has preserved a part of Elizabeth Taylor's soul, not through the brilliant covers, but through the love and profound choice called family. Thank you for joining me through the deep and emotional journey of Elizabeth Taylor's children, the quiet but equally brilliant pieces of a great legacy. If you find this story touching your heart, please like and subscribe to discover more emotional hidden corners behind the Hollywood halo. Because behind every legend, there are always untold stories.